The evolution history of the Corvette, C1 through C8. Hello, and welcome to our YouTube channel. Corvette is Chevrolet's most famous nameplate, which debuted in January 1953 at GM Motorama, New York. Since 1953, the iconic sports car has undergone numerous transformations and evolved into various models and generations. In this video, we will answer your age-old question: what is the history of the Corvette? So without further ado, let's look at the history of Corvette from C1 to the current model, C8. 1953 to 1962. Chevrolet Corvette C1. A renowned automotive designer, Harley Earl, crafted the first Corvette that appeared on January 17th to 23rd at the 1953 General Motors Motorama show. It was a two-door, two-seater sports car. At the show, Chevrolet General Manager Thomas H. Keating said the production would start mid-year, and the sports car would hit the market at the end of the year. Later in the year, the car was ready for the market with a fiberglass hand-reinforced body. It's the reason this generation of cars was referred to as solid axle models. The 1953 and 54 models initially had a six-cylinder engine dubbed the Blue Flame. 300 hand-built Corvette convertibles were produced in 1953, all polo white. The 1954 models rolled out of the factory with pennant blue, sportsman red, black, or polo white options. This year, 3,640 were manufactured. However, the 1955 models received a significant boost with a V8 engine, besides the inline 6 with 150 horsepower output. The 1954 sales weren't very good, so there was a large inventory of unsold models. As such, the company only produced 700 models for 1955. That year, Corvette also faced rivalry with the Ford Thunderbird and the Studebaker Speedster and the Chrysler C300. So the engineers had no option but to redesign the car for the 1956 market. A new body was introduced for the 1956 model, featuring a revised front end, side coves, and deleted tail lamp fins. The model also had a power window and hydraulically assisted convertible tops. In 1957, the optional ramjet fuel injection system was introduced, and the engine was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission. These models were also equipped with heavy-duty brakes and suspension. The 1958 Corvette received body and interior revisions, including a longer front end with quad headlamps, exhaust exiting the bumper, an improvised steering wheel, and a dashboard with all gauges mounted directly in front of the driver. 1959 and 60 models didn't receive significant changes, but the 61 model's rear was redesigned with 4 round lights. Marking the final year of the first generation Corvette, the 283 cubic inch engine introduced in 1957 was enlarged to a 327 cubic inch small block. 1963 to 1967. Chevy Corvette C2. The Corvette C2 was designed by Larry Shinoda and introduced in 1963. The fiberglass body was smaller than that of the first generation models. The model introduced a new name, Stingray, featuring hidden headlamps, a split rear window, non-functional hood vents, and an independent rear suspension. The 1963 Corvette had a 360 horsepower engine and electric ignition. In 1964, the model's decorative hood vents were eliminated, and Duntov, the Corvette's chief engineer, changed the split rear window to a full-width window. A big block of 396 cubic inch V8 engine and 4-wheel disc brakes were introduced in the 1965 models. The engine marked the end of the Rochester fuel injection system and the beginning of the 771 fuel injection system. Side exhaust pipes were also optionally available. The 1967 models received a significant revamp with a big block 427 cubic inches. The massive L88 engine propelled the C2 to previously unattainable performance levels. As the C2 entered its final production year, it featured restyled fender vents, less ornamentation, and backup lamps. 1968 to 1982. Chevrolet Corvette C3. The third generation of the Corvette, dubbed the C3, was introduced in 1968. It featured a more aerodynamic design with various body styles, including a T-top. Since it was Chevrolet's 15th anniversary, the company celebrated with a two-tone silver anniversary edition and an Indy Pace Car replica edition of the C3, since the L88 engine option and chassis components were carried over from the C2. A 5.7-liter 350 cubic inch engine was introduced in 1969 to replace the old 327 base engine. 1969 is also remembered as the only year that the Corvette optionally offered either a factory-installed side exhaust or a normal rear exit with chrome tips. The 1969 model production was extended due to a lengthy labor strike. GM understood sales would be down in 1970, so they produced a small block power that peaked with the optional high compression, high revving LT1 that produced 370 horsepower. The C3 body design was also updated with fender flares, and interiors were refined, including redesigned seats and indication lights near the gearshift. The company planned to accommodate regular low-lead fuel with lower anti-knock properties in 1971, so the engine compression ratios were lowered, reducing the power ratings. The power rating for the 5.7-liter L48 base engine decreased from 300 to 270 horsepower. The LT1 engine power was lowered from 370 to 330 horsepower. A new big block engine, LS6 7.4-liter 450 big block featuring aluminum heads, was also introduced. It had an output of 425 horsepower and became the highest of the 1970 to 72 series. The models could also be ordered with automatic transmissions. For the 1972 year, GM moved to the SAE net measurement, resulting in further reduced but more realistic power ratings than the previous SAE gross standard. Because of government regulations, the 1973 Corvette's chrome front bumper was changed to a 5-mile-per-hour system with a urethane bumper cover. The convertible body style was not produced in 1975, while in the 76 models, the fiberglass floor was replaced with steel panels to withstand the catalytic converter's high operating temperature. Indy 500 Pace Car Limited Edition and a Silver Anniversary model were introduced for Corvette's 25th anniversary. The cars had fastback glass rear windows and featured a new interior and dashboard. All 1979 models featured the previous year's pace car seats and offered the front and rear spoilers as optional equipment. 1979 also became the peak production year for all versions of the Corvette, after 53,807 cars rolled out of the factory at that time. The 1980 models received an integrated aerodynamic redesign that resulted in a significant drag reduction. In 1981, production relocated from St. Louis to Bowling Green, Kentucky, where several two-tone paint options were offered. The 1981 models were the last available with a manual transmission until 1984. However, fuel-injected engines returned in 1982, the last year of C3 production. 1984 to 1996, Chevrolet Corvette C4. The fourth generation of the Corvette C4 entered the market in 1984. GM purchased the Lotus engineering team and developed the DOHC all-aluminum LT5 engine in the ZR1 model. The C4 models featured a more modern and futuristic design and were powered by various V8 engines. The 1984 model had a 5.7-liter V8 engine under the hood. It also had aluminum brake calipers and an all-aluminum suspension for weight saving and rigidity. These models also came with single-unit retractable headlights and new electric dashboards with digital liquid crystal displays. From 1984 to 1988, all models had a 4-speed manual integrated to an automatic overdrive on the top 3 gears, designed by Doug Nash. The transmission was introduced to help the Corvette meet U.S. fuel economy standards. A second Corvette Indy Pace car was released in 1986 as the first convertible Corvette since 1975. 1988 saw the 35th anniversary edition of the Corvette. Each featured a single badge with an identification number mounted next to the gear selector and was finished with a white exterior, wheels, and interior. ZR1 option Corvette was introduced with the LT5 engine. In 1991, all Corvettes received upgrades to the body, interior, and wheels. For the 92 model year, the 300 horsepower LT1 engine was introduced. This engine featured reverse flow cooling, allowing a higher compression ratio. Also new for the 1992 was acceleration slip regulation, a form of traction control that utilized the Corvette's brakes, spark retard, and throttle close down to prevent excessive rear wheel spin and possible loss of control. A 40th anniversary edition model was released in 1993, featuring a commemorative ruby red color, 40th anniversary badges, and embroidered seat backs. The 1993 Corvette also introduced the first passive keyless entry system. The final year of C4's debuted with special features like OBD2, run-flat tires, and an LT4 engine. Are you ready to learn how General Motors was prepared for the 21st century? Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to more automotive content similar to this. 1997 to 2004, Chevrolet Corvette C5. The fifth generation of the Corvette C5 was introduced in 1997. The C5 was a completely new design featuring new concepts and manufacturing innovations. 0.29 drag coefficient, lower body weight, and other improved dynamics enabled the cars to achieve a top speed of 176 miles per hour. The available C5 in 1997 was a coupe, but the new platform was designed from the ground up to be a convertible in 1998. A fixed-roof coupe was released in 1999, with one concept equipped with a V6 engine, nicknamed in-house as the Billy Bob. Later, in 2000, the fixed-roof coupe plans laid the groundwork for the Z06 in 2001. The Z06 replaced the fixed-roof coupe model as the highest-performance C5 Corvette. The vehicle's engine was an LS6 that delivered 385 horsepower. Z06 was sold from 2001 to 2000 when GM improved the car with features like a titanium exhaust system and a carbon fiber hood to make the final model even lighter for better performance. 2005 to 2013. Chevrolet Corvette C6. The sixth generation of Corvette C6 was introduced in 2005. It featured a more aggressive design and was available in coupe and convertible body styles. The Z06 and ZR1 made their way into the C6 generation, with the ZR1 having the most potent engine. For 2008, the Corvette received a mild freshening. A new LS3 engine with a displacement increase to 6.2-liter was introduced. It had an output of 430 horsepower and 424 pound-feet of torque. The introduction of the 6-speed manual transmission also has improved shift linkage. The car interior was slightly upgraded, and a new 4LT leather wrap interior package was added. Wheels were also upgraded to a new 5-spoke design. In 2010, Grand Sport's historical name returned to the Corvette lineup, making it an entirely new model series. It had a steel frame and retained many of the features of the Z06, including a wide body and big wheels. In 2011, Corvette Z06 and ZR1 buyers of the Corvette Z06 were offered the opportunity to assist in building their engines. Participants helped the assembly line workers build the V8 engine. The last C6 was manufactured in February 2013. However, 2013 turned into a dark year for Corvette, as federal investigations found problems with more than 100,000 C6 lighting systems. 2014 to 2019, Chevrolet Corvette C7. The seventh generation of the Corvette C7 was introduced in 2014. Development for the seventh generation Corvette was originally set to be introduced in 2011, but was delayed for 3 years. Something interesting happened before introducing the C7. 46% of Corvette buyers in 2012 through October were 55 or older, compared with 22% of Audi R8 and 30% of Porsche 911 customers. This made GM's product planners and marketers perceive Corvette as an old man's toy. As such, the new generation C7 was to be aspirational to younger people. The 2014 Chevrolet Corvette had a 6.2-liter V8 engine with an optimal performance exhaust. Corvette remained rear-wheel drive with a transaxle located in the rear. Transmission choices included a 7-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic. The interior had wide bottom seats as standard. Corvette's flag logo was revised for the new car, and a small casting of a stingray was added to the car's ornamentation. The 7th generation features a carbon fiber hood and removable roof panel. The trademark round taillights changed to a more squarish form in the car's rear. For 2015, the C7 had a transaxle version of the 8L90 8-speed automatic to replace the previous 6-speed 6L80. A supercharged LT4 aluminum 6.2-liter V8 engine with 650 horsepower was used. Chevrolet once again introduced the Grand Sport model in 2017. This model includes Z06 wide-body styling features, suspension tuning, and the Z51 dry sump LT1 engine configuration. Grand Sport models were available in 10 exterior colors and could have optional heritage pack, which included hash mark fender graphics. The ZR1 variant returned in 2019 featuring a new LT5 engine. 2020 to present, Chevrolet Corvette C8. The Corvette C8 was introduced in 2020 and is currently in production. It was the first car to have a rear mid-engine configuration in the model's history. Its base engine is a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8 called the LT2, which generates 465 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. It was also the first Corvette offered without a traditional manual transmission since 1982. In 2022, the LT2 saw fuel management system upgrades, which featured a new fuel pump and injectors. In 2023, the Corvette C8 Z06 debuted, featuring a 5.5-liter naturally aspirated DOHC flat plane crank V8 engine of 670 horsepower. This LT6 engine is the most powerful, naturally aspirated production V8 engine. The engine sends power to a dual-clutch transmission. General Motors also unveiled the Corvette C8 E-Ray on January 17, 2023, as a 2024 model year vehicle. It is the first production Corvette to include front-wheel drive electric motor components. The model also has a hybrid powertrain with a 6.2-liter LT2 V8 engine and an electric motor powering the front wheels. Which is your favorite generation of Corvette's history? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you have enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to our channel for more.